All right, we're very excited here to have with us a very special guest, a student, Suzi DeLay. Just to give everybody a background, we see some people here who aren't regulars. So we started this Zoom program right in the beginning of COVID as a way to help people learn about how to make Passover, which was the immediate concern when COVID came about. And we've kept it going ever since, so well over 2 years at this point. And every night we have, Monday through Thursday, a little Torah study for about 10 minutes. And one night a week on Tuesdays, we feature special guests. We've had Chabad rabbis in Myanmar and Taiwan. We've had, last week, we had a man who ran a Seder in Ukraine this past year in the middle of the war. 2 weeks ago, we had the man who ran the Seder in Nigeria. And we've tried to get all different types of perspectives and people who can share with us how Chabad has touched their lives. So came up with this idea, this young woman here, Suzi DeLay, who is very active at Chabad at KU. And I asked her to join us, and she was very nice because she said yes right away. Most people give me a story, I don't know, and I have to see, and I'll ask, and I'll say. So thank you, Suzi, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Welcome to our program. So let's get started. Introduce yourself, if you would. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and so on, and just give everybody a certain sense of who you are.
All right. So I'm Suzi. I am from Buffalo Grove. I'm now a senior at University of Kansas.
All right.
Jayhawks. Yeah, rock chalk. Gearing up to get ready to start applying to medical school because I'm now pre-med, majoring in biology. Yeah, those are the basics about me.
Okay, so that's your basic baseball card. So give us a little sense of your personal history. When you came, how did you decide to come to KU? What was it that you were looking for in your college experience? And how did Chabad and Jewish life influence, if at all, your decision to come to KU?
So the main reason that I initially applied to KU was because my older brother went here. So that was, and he was like, obviously, I love KU so much. He really wanted me to apply. So I did. And KU wasn't totally on my radar, for the first few months of senior year of high school when we were, applying to all these colleges. And I honestly don't know what changed, but I just realized the more I looked into it, Lawrence, Kansas is just where I wanted to be. It felt like it really fit with just kind of the vibe that I was looking for college, and just seemed like it was gonna be a good experience. And so then when I came here, my older brother, Jacob, he was also very involved with Chabad. And my parents, they know Zalman and Nahama. We're all very, very fond of KU Chabad. And so that kind of started as, if I'm going to KU, obviously, I got to go hang out at Chabad for Shabbat or whatever. So the first time I went, it was more of okay, this is expected of me, let's go try it out. Let's see how I feel. And right away, when I met them, I'm like, this is my community. And just such an easy way to meet so many other Jewish students at KU, because obviously college is a lot bigger than high school. And, these aren't the same people that you've been going to school with for, 10 plus years. So I'm still meeting all these, new Jewish peers at KU. And I just think that Chabad has been a great way for me to learn more about, my faith and where that kind of fits in my life. And yeah, I've had a great time, great experience with them. And I still have, another year that I'm very excited for.
Okay, so some of the people here, they have children going off to college or maybe already in college, and they don't necessarily have any significant background. They're 16-year-olds with Chabad or even with any strong Jewish identity. What would you say or recommend? How can they get their son or daughter to make that first step and go to the Chabad? They maybe feel like it's awkward or clumsy, or they're not going to know what to do, or they can't read Hebrew. How do you recommend they can get them over that hump and go and have that first positive experience?
Yeah, it's it's tough to kind of like force people to go, if they, like you said, if they don't have like, feeling like a strong Jewish identity or whatever. But like, I mean, one of the great things about KU Chabad is that no matter your like observance level, they're going to welcome you no matter what. And just, they're really there to just like, spread knowledge and just have fun and involve everybody. But I think, so I actually, this past semester, I was on the leadership team and I did like social events and stuff. So part of my way to like reach out to people is just like, hey, grab a couple friends, come to one event. And, as one event can, lead to so many more. And it's just like you said, it's just taking that first step and, bringing people with you. You don't have to do it alone if like you're uncomfortable or whatever, but, bringing friends and just going to one event and, just being able to see what you're kind of missing out on. And hopefully that'll lead you into, a lot more events.
So maybe you can give us some sense of what some of those events are. I mean, we've had Rabbi Zalman on, we've had many different Chabads on campus. We've had Rabbi Gordon, who directs Chabad on campus. A kid comes to school, they're looking for their studies, you're pre-med, I'm sure you're pretty busy, just doing all your work. And then there's all kinds of other social activities. What is it that makes Chabad stand out amongst all the other options for a college student? And what are some of those activities that were meaningful to you and maybe to some of your friends?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's really just the people and the warmth and just the feeling of like, as soon as you walk into Chabad, it's just like, you are so welcomed. Like everybody wants you there. Everyone loves to see you. And it's just fun. Like for Hanukkah, I helped to plan like the big Hanukkah party. And we did that at like the Kansas Union because, we needed like a bigger space because it was one of our like bigger parties. But, we had all these different activities that weren't just, let's talk about, let's study Torah. Let's do all this. Cause I think a lot of people have this idea that if you're going to be a part of any kind of Jewish youth group, it's just going to be like, let's talk Torah, let's talk commandments, all that. And like, yes, we do that, but that's not all it is. It's more about applying those things to your life and just spreading just the idea of community.
So what would you suggest? You're saying that there's a misconception that people think it's just going to be very rigid study. What would you say was an example maybe of some other student who came along, maybe someone who had never been to a Chabad event at home, wasn't very familiar with Jewish history or teachings and so on, and they took that first step? What is it that was so magical to them that would bring them back again? Can you give us like some of the specific events that really attract the students?
Yeah, I mean, I can use myself as an example. But before coming to KU, I wasn't super like, I guess I didn't fully know how to have a relationship with God and how to like really be in touch with my own Judaism and not just what it is in general, but like how I felt about it. And Chabad offers these Jewish youth classes that I got involved in. And that was, that was Torah study, but like I was saying before, like it was more about applying those themes to your life. And I realized, I'm like, wow, even though the Torah was written all these years ago, it still applies today. And I can pinpoint these ideas that like very much connect to me. And they use this term that studying Torah, it's like food for your soul. And like I feel that every time I study. I try to do weekly study sessions with Nahama, just to get that food for my soul, because it makes me feel like, I guess, like I belong, in that community. And that's what keeps me coming back.
That's fantastic. Can you give us a sense of the other students, like You talked about coming to classes. Is this 5 kids? Is this 500 kids? Are these kids knowledgeable? They come from KU, they're American, they're from foreign countries. Like, what's the makeup of the students who come to participate in a Chabad program?
So it depends on the program. For the Jewish youth classes, I feel like it's average, maybe like 6 or 7. And they're all KU students, just wanting to learn a little bit about whatever topic, because the classes are, I did a women's class. I did this one called Sources of Strength, which was really cool. Like there's a bunch of different things you can do. But for like the bigger events, like we had our end of the year barbecue. That was a lot of fun. Like more people showed up, and that's kind of the bigger events is when we can kind of, grab the people who don't, come to every Shabbat or whatever, because I know that we definitely have a community of like a couple people, or not a couple people, but there's like a group of people, within our Chabad community that like are consistent, they come to everything, got this tight bond, but those bigger events are how we, reach out to the people who need a little bit more like support around them or whatever to get into that and everything. But
so we see that we have your Rebbitzin on here. So it's time to play Let's Embarrass the Rebbitzin. So let's talk to us about your relationship with Rabbi and Mrs. Tachtel and how that's developed. Was that something that you ever anticipated, that you'd go to school and of course you'd have your classes and you'd meet new friends and have great professors and become close friends with the rabbi and the Rebbitzin? Can you give us a little sense of how that personal relationship has played in your life and general student life at KU? And we are hopeful that you'll tell us some mildly embarrassing stories about them, because that will make it much more interesting. We're going to let the Rebbitzin unmute herself if she'd like and jump in and refute anything you say, but please share with us what it's like to have this friendship in your life.
yeah, well, it has honestly meant so much to me. I was not really expecting when I came to school to like be this involved in, Chabad on campus. But I'm so glad that I am. And like I've told Nahama before, like I so appreciate everything that they have done for me, because, I remember having this conversation with my mom when I was in high school, saying how, yes, of course I'm Jewish, that's important to me, but that's not all I am. And like, once I, came here, I started studying with Nahama, I started, going to all these events and whatever, I realized being Jewish is the most important thing in my life. And that has completely changed, like how I view myself, how I view the world, everything. And, I was saying before, I didn't know how to have a relationship with God. And Zalman and Nahama taught me how to do that. And that has been one of the greatest gifts that I have ever received. So that relationship, that friendship between me and them, it has meant so much to me.
Well, you've succeeded. I can see your Rebbitzin is blushing. So your words come from the heart and they penetrate the heart. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and jump in with a question for Suzi, we do want to respect her time. She's got a big test tomorrow and she was kind enough to share this time with us. Is there a singular story or something or a particular event that you really can point to that you think, you'll look back on and say, wow, that was really a turning point for me? Or it could be about a friend or someone else who you saw that really sort of like the light bulb went on and they said, wow, this is really something meaningful to me.
There was actually this cool moment. It was either Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, the last semester, so this year. And they were, the Chabad has like a text service for like a RSVP that they started doing during COVID, just so like things didn't get too overwhelmed. They knew how many people they were going to have. So I'm not sure how many people RSVP'd, but a whole lot more people showed up. And it was the first time in, I believe, the 16 years that they've been there that they ran out of food. And like, yeah, exactly. Like Chabad running out of food, that's crazy. But I just kind of looked at that as like, wow, like there's so much just like so many people want to get involved. And like that was like a really cool moment for me that made me realize like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to give everybody a chance if they want to jump in. You can ask a question of Suzi or make a comment. Otherwise, we're going to say we're very, very appreciative of you spending this time with us. It's really meaningful. And we wish you good luck on your test tomorrow. We're looking forward to speaking to Dr. Suzi DeLay
Here's hoping.
soon enough. It'll be, you'll apply yourself, you'll succeed, and then we'll set you up with some 14-year-old who wants to learn about being a doctor, and you'll be able to mentor them. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. Good luck, Hatzlacha. Thank you to your rabbi and Rebbitzin. It's just another one of the examples of the Rebbe's impact on the entire world, and you can hear the sincerity. And did she say everything that you told her to say, Rebbitzin, just like you wrote it up for? Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, I got the script.
Yeah, you got the script there, right?
I would like to add something. First of all, I really did not, Suzi did not proof any of this with me, but it was beautiful. As much as Suzi's talking about how Zaman and I affected her, I would like to say that we have been inspired by Suzi even more so, and she has impacted our life tremendously. She is a beautiful example of someone who has taken Judaism into her life, but yet balances her school and her social life so well. She's showing how Judaism is not a conflict to living within the world. On the contrary, Suzi always talks about bringing Judaism into the world is exactly, her goal, and she does that so well. She lives with all your apartment mates are non-Jews, yet she keeps a kosher kitchen. And here she's proving to the college crowd how it is possible to do both. And another thing that inspires me so much about Suzi is when she learns Torah, her soul's on fire, really on fire. And it's like, wait 1 minute, am I as excited to learn Torah? I'm not sure. So I learned from Suzi. I learned from her strength and the way she's balanced and her excitement. So l'chaim to Suzi. You should continue to teach others.
I do have one question, Suzi. I noticed you don't have a standing desk. Now, all the cool kids have standing desks. Is there a reason why you don't have a standing desk? I know someone who might be able to hook you up with a standing desk if you were in the market for one.
Is there a reason I don't have a standing desk?
Yes, I mean, all the cool kids have standing desks.
I like to sit down.
Okay, well,
I know.
All right, Mel, you got to have a question. You always do.
I asked her so many questions before we got on.
All right. So we're going to let Suzi go. She's got a big test to study for. We know you're going to be successful. We want to thank you so much, and thank you, Rebbitzin, Mrs. Teichtel, for joining us. And your parents are here, and they did not try to make you laugh. You did a great job. So really appreciate your sincerity came through in your message. Reminder, everybody, I'm going to a wedding, so I won't be here tomorrow night or Thursday. We'll be back next Monday night with more about the Spheroids and more special guests. So thank you all. Good night. Good luck to you, Suzi. Thank you again for spending time with us. We really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Suzi.
Good night.
Hi, Rebbitzin. Hi, Suzi.